This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.
Welcome to the Time Is Now podcast, hosted by your team at IRG. I am your host, Justin Villa, and today we are accompanied by Leo Mills and Jengis Bayerli from the IRG team. We are in an interesting location, guys, today. I can count on one hand the number of times that being born and raised here in Miami, would come to this area. It was a very residential, not very commercial, exactly. Not much to do in this area.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's a lot of developers and things like that have come to this area, including where we're at today. We are in the Bay Harbor Towers Sales Gallery, and we are accompanied by the sales executive, Diana Boytel. Welcome.
Well, thank you for coming here. I'm dying to share this with the audience. Like you said, I grew up here as well, and these two little islands were always just like a step over to get to Bal Harbor. And I always, as an architect, I'm also a trained architect, I would always come by here and think, God, there's so much to do here in this little island. It's so precious, but nobody's done anything. Well, like 30, 40 years later, of course, there's a scarcity of waterfront. Right. And of course, developers, being who they are, scoped out this area and realized, wow, hey, our best neighbors are Indian Creek Island is the most sought out. So it's a great place, and people are finally realizing, and it's so safe. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing. I watch the kids come home from school. There's 8 schools here within a couple blocks, and they walk home by themselves. Where do you see that in Miami?
Yeah, nowhere.
And exactly. And a little thing happened, like a little fender bender the other day, and there was 9 police officers attending them. It's incredibly crazy. So it's very safe, very still old world here. And the other thing that the town council has put forth is also helping the area. Code-wise, the max you can build is 8 stories rather. Mm-hmm. So what does that do? It keeps the density really low, keeps it very more like a villagey feel. It's never going to be this Sunny Isles, multiple 80 stories, brickle or anything like that. So if anybody's, looking out for something really special, this is the place for sure.
It's super exclusive for me, this island. So.
It seems to be that the secret's out, because to your point, the amount of construction that's happening on the island is crazy. I think there's 5 or 6 different projects that are going to deliver in the next 24 to 36 months. Yeah. All of them very special in their own way. In your opinion, especially as a sales executive and a trained architect, what makes Bay Harbor Towers different and special?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, the other projects are all lovely. They're great architects as well. Kobe's doing a couple of them. In fact, one of us, he's the architect with us. Yeah. I particularly love this building for several reasons. I'm a very minimalistic kind of type of architect, and I think that's where we're going, of course, in the future. And he's done a very clean, very crisp building, mm-hmm. Number 1. Number 2, he's adding some stonework, some finishes, some fenestrations are taken care of with stonework. And that's very important, to have some kind of texture. So that's also very nice. And we stand out because we have the best amenities of any project here.
No,
so we'll
right.
go into that.
Exactly. I know. Sure. And the good thing is we are very close to Indian Creek Island, where all the billionaires, let's say,
are living. Just don't go too far. Bezos comes by here often with his security guard behind him and his girlfriend and him, just moseying on kayaking.
It's funny because
we have good guys.
You're the second salesperson of projects in Bay Harbor that has told that story. So
it makes a good story. It's real. It came out in the news, so it's real. It's not rumors, but of course, you have Tom Brady. You've got the Trumps.
Yeah, Trumps. Exactly.
What else do we? Jeff Bezos, of course.
Yeah.
Julio Iglesias.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he still has a house there.
Yes.
So, but anyways, also to a point, being architecturally sensitive. The whole sense of approach to me is very important, especially coming home. Mm-hmm. And coming from the mainland over here, it's such a gorgeous view. It's not unparalleled anywhere else. You're coming over, you check out Indian Creek with those beautiful golf courses manicured to the extreme perfection, these beautiful houses, and then you have the water that just kind of almost looks like it's going to come right onto the street. So it's a beautiful sense of entry that you have here that you don't have, say, Bay Villages or even Brickell or anything. So it's a very peaceful entry, and I think that's also takes into effect. And our building in particular has a fantastic entrance point too. So Jacoby Carp did a really great space. It's almost as if you're walking up to a Park Avenue building, one is exclusive. It's really gorgeous. So everybody has to come by and see this. It's really a treasure.
Definitely.
I think a lot of things came together for this project because you've mentioned obviously Kobe Carp, which is a firm
Staple
that is,
here.
very very well known. The interior is by Stephen G, if I can recall. And I think when we were at the last event, I always find it to be very interesting and a good reflection on the project where the people that are working on the project actually invest. And I believe Stephen did purchase a unit here. So.
Cat's out of the bag, I guess so.
Exactly.
I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. In fact, another big part of the development team also bought a unit here. So that's a very good.
Yeah, for sure.
Good,
Exactly.
So you have pretty much a crack team that's come together. You have the location. What else do you have at Bay Harbor Towers?
We have 12 marinas that we will be selling.
I think that's super exclusive.
Which is
those,
very
yeah.
nice, especially with the
slips.
scarcity there is on boat slips. So that's also a very attractive amenity we have, yes. We have also surpassing anybody else in this 10-mile radius. I can tell you, I can only speak for the 10 miles I know. We have a great amenity section. It's a wellness center, which has a 50-foot interior heated sailing pool.
Wow.
Nobody has
Wow.
that.
Exactly.
We have a lot of liquid sunshine here that comes here, so it's nice to have an indoor pool, number one. Number two, sailing. It's really soft on your skin, your hair, so it gives a nice alternative. Of course, we have the support rooms, the steam, the sauna, the massage rooms, the fitness center, the yoga. So all that encompasses a beautiful wellness center. And we have to realize this beautiful space is only going to be occupied by 44 residences. Unheard of. I mean, this is a crazy, crazy, beautiful thing.
That's true.
And obviously, like how we mentioned earlier, this is an area where it was strictly residential, and a lot has changed. That vision that the developers had over 20, 30 years ago to build here now, kudos to them, because definitely, it wasn't an area where you would come for the nightlife and things like that, right? You would stick more towards South Beach or downtown or Brickell, just because that's where it was the best place and best restaurants and nightlife. But do you know about other things that are coming here, restaurants?
Yes,
nightlife?
thank you for pointing that out. True. Together with the town council, they've put forth a very nice projection, and they want to do Cane Concourse just to be a walkable area. Whereas Cane Concourse, as we know it growing up here, like you mentioned, the first floor was always, lawyers, doctors, it was clinics. It was not something that you want to walk to per se. So they've jointly made a strong move towards not reworking the lease, not
Rezoning.
not honoring the lease anymore. Once the lease is up, once the lease is up, sorry about that.
Okay.
Once the lease is up, they're pushing them upstairs. So what they're doing is making way so that more retail, more restaurants. In fact, one of our buyers bought here because they said you have the tooth staples that have to be in my world. Pura vida and Mr. One. And that's how Miami is. We get stuck on something, but it's a great addition. It's always packed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they want. They want walkability. It's Emilio's Trattoria, which is fabulous. You have Kinoko, there's a couple of kosher restaurants. So that's what's the overall goal of the whole Cane Concourse, which would be beautiful because in essence it's a beautiful building and just a little 2-block stretch. So it's going to be really nice.
Definitely, and I think we have to mention the Bal Harbor shops. Also, it's just walking.
Of course,
walking
just
distance like 10 minutes.
10-minute walk, as you have Bal
this-
Harbor and of course Carpaccio and the zoo and at least 6 other restaurants.
Mocato and stuff.
And it's great. And of course, the amenities that we all have here is the walkability to the beach.
Exactly.
Well, who else can say that? Not too many people can say that. And if you don't want to be in South Beach with the craziness, you want to be in a more sophisticated, more easygoing area, this is it.
Yeah. By the way, as you mentioned the beach, are you guys gonna have a partnership with anyone for the residents?
The developer is definitely exploring that. He hasn't committed to anybody yet, but definitely has in our fact sheets we have that as a strong possibility.
Awesome.
So that should be really nice as well.
That's good. Yeah.
That's hilarious that your client pointed that out because Mr. 01 and Pura Vida are businesses that have become very successful over the years, and they're very strategic about where they place their businesses. So for me, it's like, if there's a Publix, if there's a Mr. 01, if there's a Pura Vida around, chances are that the area is developing pretty well. And I think that you can see it. We just mentioned it, Ball Harbor, these restaurants, the beach literally right there.
Definitely.
We have one of the best primary schools in the area as well, which is something that we haven't touched on. Like if you want a safe, homey lifestyle, I think this is one of the few places in Miami that you can still get that and be inside somewhat of a bubble, right? Like if you live here, you don't really feel like you're in Miami.
It's not, and this is what I was talking to you about on point, is that there's 9 police officers showed up for this little fender bender. It's like incredible.
Super exclusive.
Exclusive. And then my broker gave me another little anecdote. It was, he ran out of gas showing property here in Bay Harbor. And a policeman stopped him. He goes, "What's going on?" He goes, "Oh, we ran out of gas." He goes, "Okay, give me 5 minutes." He went to get the guy gas and brought gas to it. So that's small time life in a beautiful big city of Miami.
Exactly.
I mean, this is like a treasure.
Absolutely, I agree. This area is highly coveted. I mean, I have some clients that are looking in the area for something that's ready. And it has proven to be a challenge because, the client obviously has a very specific, set of things that they want, and things don't really last a lot that come onto the market in Bay Harbor. And when you look at the price per square foot of what pre-construction is selling versus what is available right now, you see this big disparity. So I think that it's worth mentioning that from an investment standpoint, anything that you purchase here down the line, is probably going to be very, very, a great decision.
Profitable.
Yes, a great decision.
I think it'll be a
100%.
great decision.
Yeah.
My family members also think the same way. They're also into development and sales, and they said that, definitely this is the place to invest. It's
Exactly.
So 1,100 a square foot for waterfront?
Yes.
Come
No.
on.
You don't find that anywhere,
Don't
especially
find
with this
that.
exclusivity. And I know that you mentioned before, a lot of New Yorkers are moving in this area and buying it from this project also, as far as I know, because of the safety and everything compared to New York. The weather is wonderful. That's why 600 people is moving to Miami every day, right?
Exactly, and this is a more affluent area too, so that's also another attraction. If you're religious, it's wonderful because you can walk to worship and church and temple, and
Exactly.
those are beautiful aspects of the area as well.
Yeah.
And recently, I was up here for the Bay Harbor Islands Art Festival, was it? That
Yes,
was
I was there
ago.
too, yeah. A little small, so maybe next year we'll expand it a little bit more.
But it was
yeah.
cute, they closed down Cane Concourse and you could walk up and down the street, so it was definitely something to do. The city is, it's funny to say city, but the city is really kind of becoming something more than it ever has been. There's so much more to offer now than there ever has been before.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's something that the area needed, right? It needed that growth, it needed that development, it needed that exposure that we all knew it potentially had. It just wasn't showing to the world. And I think you could tell. Like Leo said, basically there's 5-6 projects that are going to be done in the next 24 to 36 months.
Exactly.
There's people are starting to see, all right, this area is kind of
Something
cool.
worth it.
There's
Yes,
something.
let's check it out.
Yeah, of course. So it's definitely cool to see, and it's an area that needed a little bit of oomph. A lot of Miami after the pandemic got that motivation, and people started to see the beauty of the city, right? But this was an area that it was always beautiful. It just was kind of kept away from everybody. And like Leo says, this area is very difficult when it comes to finding properties and things like that, because people like to stay here. It's old money. It's people, they stay here basically. They purchased in the beginning and they haven't left that property. So the fact that there are new developments and new things coming to this area, it's definitely a plus.
Yeah.
And I think
Right.
the quality of the developments, right?
Well, that's the whole thing is, of course, these have adorable little buildings and Art Deco buildings and whatnot, but as people progress and they realize those new buildings have amenities like ours and they want to have a piece of that, whereas these other smaller buildings, of course, don't have any of those amenities.
Yeah, and
even like 2015, 2016, 2019 construction, you compare those buildings to what Bay Harbor Towers will be, it's literally night and day. Like it's funny because we talk about this a lot. Like the new buildings in Miami are not built for the Miami of yesterday or today. They're built for the Miami of tomorrow, 5-10 years from now. And I think Bay Harbor Towers for sure is a reflection of that.
I think so too.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, definitely. Exactly.
Well, thank you guys so much. We'll tune in. Hopefully you guys tune in next week. You can check us out on all our socials, Instagram, YouTube. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio. Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you,
Appreciate
gentlemen.
your time.
Thank you.
And we'll check you guys out on the next one.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.